going to share with you everything, but we sat down. We sat down and we wrote 10 tips that we did in our life as a couple that really, really made changes, and we want to share them with you because we think that that everyone can sit down and write these 10 tips that works for you. You know, it's going to be different for everyone, but sometimes it's those little changes that make the bigger change as a whole. Okay?
So first of all, it's very important to have fun. We have this conference. We are very happy. We prepared that for weeks and we stress a lot. Sterna and me together we stress, but we know that it's fun to be with you guys and to share with you our tips. I'm sure that all of you has 20 tips. And I encourage you to also do your own conference very soon, and we go to participate. We want to watch how you deal with stuff. But for now, we wrote down 10 plus a bonus tip, little things that I added.
I didn't see that bonus.
Yeah, no, I added after, before I print the page, I added a few things on my own. So 10 little tips, and it things that are part of our life today. And this is things that little details that we actually discuss in meetings and, you know, stuff we spoke before. Okay, Sterna, you can.
Okay, so I'm going to read. So tip number 1 is we have regular weekly meetings that, okay. He's going to be back. So I'm going to be alone. This is scary, actually.
Go, Sterna, go.
So the first tip is we have regular meetings where we cover all the aspects of our lives, whether it's personal, whether it's Chabad, whether it's our kids, and we go through them and we try to focus on one point where we want to improve. So I think this is life-changing. We have it every week. Sometimes we skip a week, but just to have something regular really makes a change, and we see ourselves advance in every aspects of our lives. Tip number 1. Tip number 2 is we try at the end of the Motzei Shabbat, when Shabbat is over, we try to take one good resolution to work on for that week. It could be anything from sleeping early to, you know, calling, you know, someone, either a family member, someone important. It's really one resolution that we keep just for a week. Again, it's just a week, because when you want to do a resolution that's longer, it may be sometimes overwhelming. So that's tip number 2. Tip number 3. This is funny. I thought Zalman would be here to share this, but it was life-changing, so we'll share with you. We have water bottles by our bed. We go to sleep drinking water, and we wake up drinking water. And for some reason in our health, it like changed our life. Little tip, but it's definitely changed something in the bigger picture. So that's tip number 3. Tip number 4 is exercise regularly. Okay, and this was very hard for me. I'm just going to share personally. My husband, when I married him, he was always into sport, and he tried to get me into sport, and it didn't work. It really, really didn't work. And again, until back
exercise
number 4, yes.
Okay,
Until 8 years ago, after Michal was born, that's when I had to force myself to exercise, and I started with a little bit, and today it became something part of my routine.
Can I just go over the 4 before we continue? No?
Right? Yeah.
Okay, the tea time for yourself. So beside beside the meetings that we have, which is big meetings, and we discuss how to improve our life in different fields, we have those time, which is usually every day before we go to sleep.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Every day before we go to sleep, we gotta just sit and have a tea. We don't discuss important stuff. We just relax. We're enjoying our time. And this is for number 5.
It's time for yourself, whether you do it with someone, whether you do it alone, whether you drink tea or coffee or wine. Time for yourself is very important daily.
You do number 6.
Number 6, organization. Okay, this is something that I worked on for a while. So organization is the key to have your life run smoothly. And organization includes cleanliness, timing, that everything is timely, and rules, knowing who has what rules. Okay, so this in our house, in our meeting, it's discussed. In general,
So,
we implement it in our life.
Basically, organization is in many different fields. Your life should be organized. Let's say this is a water bottle. Actually, we got for Chaya's Bas Mitzvah. It says Rabbi Z on it. So this needs to have a place. Actually, we don't have a place for that.
No, not yet.
It goes around the house. So basically, any element in your house needs to have one specific place. Same thing for roles in the house. You need roles. Every role needs to have one person. Can I give an example?
Yeah.
For example, I gotta give you one thing that I do all the time and one thing that Sterna does all the time. So me, Friday nights, after the meal, I prepare the tea for the guests, for everyone. So that's my role. Maybe sometimes I will be very tired. I gotta ask to Sterna to do it. It could happen, but we know that the person that does that is me. Then there is, for example, the dishes, washing dishes. We got married very quickly. I told Sterna I don't like to put my hands in water and soap. I don't know, for some reason I don't like to wash the dishes. So this is her job. Of course, sometimes, very rarely, I will mettre la main à la pâte, comme on dit en français. So put my hands in the water and wash the dishes. I do it rarely, but it's okay, because we know that this is her job. When she does that, I have some other job to do, and this is organization, mopping, doing the vacuum. I like to do it. Vacuum, I see the crumbs going in the vacuum. It makes me happy. And timing also, organization in the time. This goes that time. This goes that time. Time to sleep, the kids and everything. So basically, the idea of organizing your life could be in different fields, but this is a very important tip, which is not only a tip, it's a big thing, and you have to put that in your life, that it should be part of your life. Number 7.
Before I go to number 7, I just want to say, as we're sharing these tips, this is a lot of information. For some people, you might share better tips with us. You might be doing this already. And for some people, it might seem overwhelming. But this is when I hear conference, I love to listen to conference or read a lot of things on people that are trying to improve their lives. I always try to come out with one thing from that person that I learned. So even if it's one thing that talks to you strongly, whether it's tea time at night or whether it's exercising or whether it's organization, just to take one thing, I think it's important so you don't get overwhelmed. Number 7 is making. Okay, so this is interesting. This is mainly for okay, in our personal life, when we make choices, whether it's trips with the family, whether it's choices in how our daily routines is going to go, how our week is going to go. We always try to make a choice that's going to make us happy and our kids happy. And I find a lot of time parents make choices that either is going to be only good for them or only good for their kids. And it's very important to find that balance.
You know, these parents that go crazy to bring the kids here and bring them back there and here and there, and they go crazy all day, and they finish the day tired, and they don't have a life because they give their life for the kids, which is very good, and I respect that a lot. But at the end of the day, if you don't take care of yourself, if you don't make sure that the decisions are good for your kids, but for you also, one day these decisions going to come back to you, and you're going to get, like we say, a clack.
Yeah, and also it's not giving such a good message to the kids that
you're not
important.
Actually, yeah, that's even more important, because you want to teach your kids that you also have a value.
Yeah.
C'est important. You're important. You don't just become nothing because of your kid. So they learn to respect you even more.
And I think this before we go to number 8 that you're going to share. This tip is important in a couple or when you're working with other people. Always try to make a choice that works for both of you, not just for one person. Always think of the other person, or always think about if you're someone who always thinks about others and not yourself, try to think about yourself and make choices that are happy for both of you, so that you have self-respect and you respect the other person. So tip number 8.
Before we go to number 8, I just want to remind you that you can write in the comments, ask any question. I see that we have already a few questions that we got to.
We'll read after.
We're going to read the questions at the end, and we're going to try to answer all the questions. I mean, of course, if this is questions that it's not private or whatever, so we're going to try to answer. So please take the time, write it. I'm sure you all have questions. Actually, I got some questions by email before, so we're going to try to read them. But take the time to ask the question, and we're going to try to answer any question. So number 8, knock on the door before entering. So actually, people find that very funny. But before I enter my house, I always knock on the door. Always. Maybe sometimes if I know there is nobody in the house, I will not knock. But even that, I think my habit is to knock on the door. Any door, not any, but especially the main door of the house. My habit is to knock on the door before I enter the house. In the house, there is maybe only my wife, the kids, maybe the cleaning lady or whatever it is. It doesn't matter. I knock on the door. And actually, the source of that is in the Talmud. I won't go too much in that. But the idea behind that, it's respect. Respect that you don't just open the door and you don't come by surprise to the people that are inside. You know, whatever they do, maybe there is few things that they're not comfortable to do it in front of you, and you don't want to put them in this situation. So it's not really about the situation, is about respect. And maybe Sterna want to say how you do you find that habit a nice habit?
So in the beginning, it was funny for me that he knocked, because I wasn't raised like that. But now I sometimes do it, and I saw how it's beautiful that you respect the person who's inside by knocking before. So yes, it triggers more. It's the little action that triggers bigger change.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go for number 9. So just before we go to number 9, as you see in the tips, in the practical tips, you have some very heavy stuff like meetings and organization and goals and things. And then you have little stuff like
water bottles.
Water bottle next to the bed and knocking on doors. But according to me, and I think that the message we want to give is that there is no little and big. When we talk about habits, it's things that integrate your life. And whatever the size, it could be a little thing or a big thing, the impact on your life is as big. And the reason is because anything that you do in your life regularly, it becomes big with the time. So a little thing that you do, drinking water every day, it's very not very big deal. But in 1, 2, 3, 10 years, that's going to make a huge change in your life as big or similar to the other habit, which is planning, meetings, organization.
So I just want to say, that first meeting we had back 8 years ago, after when we wanted to make change, I never thought I would get to where I got to today, because it was so overwhelming. It was so much. And it came with, like he said, it came with time. It really, if you believe in yourself, if you work on the little things, if you plan, you won't see the change right away. But after a couple of years, you'll see the change. And when you look back, you'll be like, wow, this is amazing.
Talking about meetings, I want to say that many times when we go on meetings, we write down projects. So last time I remember, it was a meeting we had 2 years ago. And we wrote down about 8 projects. doing that, and each project, you always think that a project takes 2 weeks to do. At the end, usually it takes five or 3 times the effort and the time that you planned. Every time you are planning you think that this project is going to take you that effort, okay? And at the end, it takes you double, actually not double, like 10 times more effort. So we wrote down about 10 projects, and this paper, I scotched it to the wall of the kitchen, and I think it's still there. And these 10 projects, we plan to do them in the next month. At the end, the next month, we did only one of them. And at a certain time, we even forgot about this paper because there was so many projects that it's almost impossible to do. But when I came back 6 months later on that paper, I told Sterna, look, this project we wrote out 6 months ago in the meeting, and it's done. So now we can mark it off. And then we go a year later, and I can tell you really, like, without realizing, you write down your project and slowly you get into them, and you see that things that 3 years ago in your head it was like a project, 3 years later it becomes something that is already happening. And
it's
that's
part
the
of your
magic
life.
That's the magic of having meetings, writing your goals, and starting to go toward those goals. Let's get back to practical tips.
So number 9 is a big one. I find it's apologize. It's very hard. I find personally for me is being able to accept that you made a mistake and to tell the other person you're sorry. So apologize is big, whether it's to your wife, to your husband, to your kids, to your colleagues, to your friends. I think it's very, very important, apologizing. And the last one, to top it all off, is, and that's something that we have a lot in our house, is having fun. Always make sure to have fun in your life, to have humor. In quarantine, we couldn't go out. We love to go out with my kids. Usually we have trips, family trips. We couldn't go out, but we made sure to still organize night activities, and to make sometimes some nights dancing parties, to have fun in our life. Whatever it is, fun.
Go crazy a little bit.
You have to have fun. You can't have, with all the planning and the seriousness that you're making in your life and the changes you're making in your life, you have to combine that with fun.
So last time I played dead on the floor. And the kids, they come, they know that I'm joking, but after 2-3 minutes, they start to panic. What happened to that? And then suddenly I stand up and I start to dance like a crazy, and all the kids start to dance and they go crazy. Everyone goes crazy.
He's definitely the king of fun.
Having fun. I remember that phrase. I don't think I heard it directly from my grandfather, but my brothers would tell me that. My grandfather used to say, in French, sois sérieux, mais ne te prends pas au sérieux. Be serious, but don't
take yourself
too seriously. So just learn how to just let it go crazy, go have fun, do jokes, ridiculous jokes and stuff like that. Because life, we need to enjoy life. We have a bonus goal, not a bonus goal, sorry. We have a bonus today, bonus tip. Okay, so we went over 10 tips. I promise you, I guarantee you, if you do those 10 tips,
or if you find yourself 10
find
tips
new
that
tips,
works.
you on tips. But you know what? Like Sterna told me before, when you read a book, when you listen to a conference, you don't have to imitate what you read and what you hear. You just have to take one thing here, 1, 2, 3 habits from everything we spoke. That's little thing gonna make a change in your life, and I'm sure that you're reading books and different things that also gonna help you. Before I go to the bonus tip, I want just to say something that when I thought about the conference tonight, I saw, what I thought about? I thought about Noah. You know who Noah is? Noah lived a long time ago, 4,000 or 5,000 years ago in the Bible. And he was in a world that went through the flood. And how did he survive the flood? Is by entering the teva. The teva is the ark, the boat. He built a big boat, and that boat was so amazing that saved him from the flood. Now you know what? The boat. I can tell you that even if you build the biggest boat, you're gonna be scared when the flood's gonna come. You know, we all know the story of the Titanic and all these big planes and big boats that even if they are really proven to resist big situations, but there was some incident and everybody died, especially by Noah. The flood was a flood that was a mix of water and fire. So Noah is building a teva of wood, and fire come and destroy wood. So how Noah would be so how come Noah felt so safe? It's not safe. And the answer, there is two answers to that. There is one answer is that Noah was believing in God, and God told him to build the teva. So he knows that if he does that, he's going to be safe. So that's also one big lesson in our life, because Mia is here, everyone is here, amazing. You have to believe in God, but God is not somewhere like in the heaven. It's in you. You believe in you. Believe that if you build the right boat, you are able, instead of sinking, you are able to raise above turmoil.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the theme of our speech. So all this stuff is like building a boat that when you don't wait for the flood to come to build a boat. You build your boat, you build a strong family, you build a strong connection with your wife, with your family, with everyone you live with, and you build good habits, you make important decisions in your life, that the day when the flood will come, instead of sinking, you're going to raise, the flood will make you raise, and you're going to be above any danger. So now the bonus tip, I give that tip because it's my thing maybe.
Yeah.
It's get dressed well, even if you don't expect visitors. Dress well. You wake up in the morning. I made a joke for my sister-in-law engagement party. I made a joke that we had a Zoom engagement party. It was a month ago.
Yeah.
So my joke was that I got dressed very nicely with a tie and everything, and I wore the pajama pants. So first of all, I took a picture and I shared on Facebook. So the idea was for the Facebook fans to have a moment of laughing. But then we made a whole Zoom engagement, and no one thought that maybe I don't even wear the pants of the. I wore a pants, but not the one of the suit. But then whatever, at the end, we were like only a few people, and I stand up and whatever, we laughed again, laughing humor. So that I did that only for the joke. And even when I did that, I planned exactly what pajama pants to wear. the worst one to make the contrast with the contrast with the suit. Okay, I think Beryl is us.
Yeah,
is
Beryl
here
is
with us.